Steve, Elizabeth Newman, whose I think relationship with the Republican Party is different from ours. I think she still hopes that someone like a Mitt Romney or Ben Sasse can steer it in a different direction. Said yesterday that Republicans need to root out the bad actors, the Rand Pauls and the Lindsey Grahams and the Ted Cruzes and the Josh Hawleys on their own. Former national security officials say the same thing, that as a counter-extremism endeavor, you need people in the community to sort of beat off and root out the extreme elements. Do you think the Republican Party has the will to do that, and who would do it?
No, it's a fantasy. This party has been hijacked by the extremists. They're in control of it. As a matter of fact, they control it at a state party level. They control it at a national party level. Matt Gaetz made clear today that Donald Trump is the leader of the America First movement. The America First movement is the movement of the Republican Party. That America First movement, like the America First movement that preceded it in the 1930s, is a fascist movement. That's what the Republican Party is. Now, in any autocratic movement, one of the things that is a trait of it is the purge, and you're seeing that right now. After the vote on the 6th, the Republican Party fractured irreconcilably in a way that's not so different than what happened to the Whig Party after the vote in the Kansas-Nebraska Act that allowed for the expansion of slavery westward. That destroyed the Whig Party because the slaver and the abolitionist couldn't sit in coalition together. So you saw the incredible courage of Liz Cheney on a matter of principle say, I'm a conservative, but I'm for democracy. Now you see the attempt to purge Liz Cheney. But as we move into the primaries in 22, what side will be ascendant? The vestigial Republican side that tried to go along to get along, or the QAnon coalition of Marjorie Taylor Greene? Who will win these primaries? I think the autocratic side is going to steamroll the vestigial pro-democracy wing of the Republican Party, which is a minority by membership. They're going to steamroll them like the German Wehrmacht did to the Belgian army in 1940. Now, what does that mean? It means that we will have more clinically insane people elected to the Congress. But it also means that we'll see Democrats be able to win elections in competitive districts or even districts with a slight Republican advantage as the majority condemns this. There are only two ways to win a fight. You bring your opponent to submission, or they exhaust you while you're trying. We have no place to compromise with the white supremacists, the white nationalists, and the people who believe the government is run by a global cannibalistic pedophile ring. There's no place to meet in the middle. We have to crush them politically, and we can't ever lose an election at a national level to these people again, because it could be the last election that we have in the United States. Their intent is clear. So we cannot be exhausted in the prosecution of the fight for democracy against people who have made their fidelity to autocracy and to Donald Trump clear. We have a real-life fascist movement, autocratic movement that Donald Trump has started in America. And that movement led to, for the first time in American history, since the first transition of power in 1797, we had the transfer of power, but for the first time, it was not peaceful. It's not a moment, it's a process, and it was a bloodstained process because of the incitements of Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley and Kevin McCarthy, Donald Trump and Donald Trump Jr., and the other members of Congress like Mo Brooks, who incited those people. We have a big question as a country, and it's this. Law enforcement is saying by the end of the month there may be 1,000 of the incited who stormed and rampaged and caused death and mayhem in the Capitol under arrest. What about the inciters? What about the people who told the big lie? What is their moral responsibility? What will the institutional consequences be under the rules of the Senate or the House of Representatives? What will the American people demand? The president called the nation to a great national purpose, to crush COVID and to defend American democracy. And that's the question on the table.
Steve Schmidt, someday we're going to start this conversation.